What up, everyone? This is Zafa Slater, aka One, aka the one and true comic outlaw. And yeah, we're at Western New Mexico University, and I'd like to give a big up to New Mexico Department of Health. They're actually here. We're in the library. They have a little section set up in the snack area right around there. Go hit up Danielle if you need immunizations. They got a lot of cool free stuff, and basically just a nice girl. She'll answer a lot of your questions, birth control, all that other stuff. Free wrappers for certain things, and yeah, we're giving away a lot of cool stuff. And if you need immunization, if you need anything like that, which is very important, stop by. I mean, there's not that much to do anyways. We got some cool stuff. She's got some answers for some questions, so if you're in the neighborhood, stop on by. Anyways, as you know, I've been doing a discussion about Batman and the Red Hood. And, well, sorry, haven't had my coffee yet. I've only had one cup, so. This is Gotham Knights, and we're going to be discussing the relationship between Batman and the Red Hood. Sorry, I'm a little excited. The Red Hood is one of my favorite characters of all time. One of my favorite Robins. So I'm just a wee bit excited about the Red Hood. Okay. Now, usually people like talking about Robins in order. Nightwing, Jason Todd, Red Hood. Well, and then there's Tim Drake as third Robin, and Damian. Well, everyone knows Dick Grayson. I mean, Dick Grayson is pretty much the Robin that people hear of first. There we go. Now I'm awake. Okay, little background. In case you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Batman is, and Robin, the first Robin was Dick Grayson. Basically, his parents were killed in a trapeze accident. They were murdered by a man named Danny Zuko. I'm going to be covering Nightwing later, so I'm just giving you broad strokes. He became Robin. He stayed Robin for a long time. Right around, Batman started in the 40s. Robin came out right afterwards. And it carried on until the 80s. So 40s to the 80s, I mean almost 40 years, he never grew up. So they decided to grow him up. He went his own way in the Teen Titans, and he did his own thing. He became Nightwing, and I'll explain all that later. The reason I'm saying this and the reason I'm getting to this is because Bruce became a wee bit darker without Robin. He started being harsher on criminals. Not only harsher, he actually got to the point where they thought they were going to start, or he was going to start killing criminals. He got that bad. His war on Gotham actually almost turned into a real war on Gotham. And that's the interesting thing about the Robins. It enforces his no-killing law. Why would I kill in front of a child? Then again, why would you bring one into a war zone? Food for thought. He trains these sidekicks. And yes, granted, they do become great superheroes, but they go out night after night with these raging psychopaths, like the Joker. And we're going to get to the Joker right now, too, because this circles around to everything that I've been saying about Bruce. Now, this one came in 1983. It was Batman number 357. And they redid his origin, so I'm just going to give you the one I like. It's basically a cut and paste of what happened to Dick. That went out the window in Crisis. That's why I'm starting in 1983. Just so you know. That's where I feel Jason Todd was born. Okay. I don't mean to laugh, but you'll see why. Batman busted him literally stealing the tires off the Batmobile. You got to give the kid credit. I mean, 12 years old, and this kid is boosting the tires off the Batmobile. I mean, totally the opposite of Dick Grayson. I mean, Dick Grayson is the Ma and apple pie Robin. Don't get me wrong, I love Dick Grayson. I read Nightwing, big fan. But basically, he is the Ma and apple pie version of that character. Jason Todd, on the other hand, was from the streets and the neighborhoods. There's a big difference between the two. When you're raised a certain way, Robin was raised in a circus. Everybody was a family. Or Dick Grayson. You know what I'm talking about. So he had that family, that community. Jason, on the other hand, came from an abusive household. He spent most of his time on the streets, trying to take care of his mom until his mom bounced. He became an orphan. He was a street rat. He did what he had to do to survive. And later on, you find out that his father was killed by Two-Face. That's why I mentioned that earlier in the organized crime thing. So he took care of himself. He raised himself. He taught himself how to fight, how to steal, because he had to. He's more street smart than Dick Grayson. He's been around. He's seen things. He saw a lot of things that a kid like Dick Grayson wouldn't see. He was sheltered. Jason wasn't. Jason was the streets. And that, I think, gave him more of an advantage than Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson had to learn what Gotham was. Dick Grayson had to learn the horrors of Gotham, the things that happened. Jason, on the other hand, already knew. He knew how bad it was. So Batman takes this kid under his wing because he saw potential in him. And I think, personally, he needed a Robin. And Alfred took him in too. Alfred loves family. And I think he saw something in Jason that I saw and that I see. Alfred shooed Dick Grayson out of the nest. Him and Bruce had too much conflict. They ended up fighting. There's a famous scene where he slapped Robin. Maybe it was retcon, maybe it's not. That means they go back and they fix parts of the story. They pick and choose the origin. But he shoot him out of the nest. And I think the reason he did is because I think he was holding Bruce back. And plus, Robin had grown up at this point. He was tired of Bruce's rules. Why don't we do this and not do that? I mean, it got to the point where if we aren't going to kill this guy, let's send him to Metropolis. Let's send him to Antarctica. Hell, let's open up the Phantom Zone and throw the Joker in. Why? If we're not going to kill these people, why are we just sending them to Arkham? You see what I'm saying? Alfred realized this, and he realized that him and Bruce were fighting on this, and he said, well, Master Dick, why don't you go to the Teen Titans? Find your own way. And it was a smart move by Alfred. I actually personally admire Alfred. Alfred is always one step ahead of Bruce. He saw potential, and I do mean potential, in Jason Todd. Jason Todd was more practical. Jason Todd knew what would happen in the streets. Jason Todd knew the way certain criminals needed to be dealt with. He knew what the underworld was. He's seen it with his own eyes. He's done favors as a kid an errand boy. Now, for those of you at home that don't know what that means, when you're a kid, you work your way up. You earn. You earn your place. Whether it's running errands, running numbers, shining shoes, you earn your way up. You do favors. And then you work your way up through the mob. Someone brings you in. Someone brings you into the fold. They open up the gates for you. And they also let you in. They also allow you a place among them. Now, the important thing is that Jason understands this. And let's say, for example, there was some loudmouth out there saying that he wanted to do this or that. Some coward that broke the rules. Maybe your first job would be to take care of them. To curve check them. Or something like that. That's usually how you work your way up. You do favors, you do jobs. And I believe that if Bruce didn't step in, Jason would have made one hell of a fine gangster. He would have made one hell of a fine gangster. He would have been up in the elite. I think Oswald probably would have found him. I do believe Oswald, Cobblepot probably would have found him, or one of the other people. They would have brought him in. It would have made perfect sense. Bruce saw something in him. Now, this is, I think Bruce is at the point where he was getting ready to break his one rule. I honestly think he was getting to that point. He was getting frustrated. He was getting tired. He was getting to the point where he didn't want to do this, mess with the Joker and do that. Like, if you read the comics, you get that feeling from Batman. He's getting ready to say, to hell with this. I can't deal with these raving psychopaths anymore. I can't deal with it. So when he saw Jason, I think he knew what Jason was going to become. I think he knew, and he needed someone like that. And yes, if you watch the Red Hood cartoon, fantastic cartoon, okay? It sums it up. I've been covering them in the comic section. The system has been shut down. There will be more comics soon. Good old Jack's flushed out the system. Everything's reloading. There'll be a few more of the Jack Slater covers, and it'll all go to Zafa. But at any rate, I think he knew. He knew that he needed to change. So this Robin, I wouldn't call him unhinged, right? They were taking care of murderers. They were taking care of, well, to be honest with you, rapists. They were taking care of scum. Some of the worst scum in the Narrows. That's where Robin focused on. The Narrows is actually one of the most horrible places in Gotham City. A lot of horrible stuff happens there. That's what I'm saying. And that's my point. In a week, if Bruce joined the mob, because I keep harping on this, if he took his place at the table, that place would be cleaned out in a week. Less. All that horrible stuff would stop. All those people would be under the protection of the crime bosses and also the Gotham City PD. Because they do work together, believe it or not. That's the way it works. It goes hand in hand. Now, think about this. If you watch the cartoon, yes, he's heavy-handed. He beats the unholy shnikes out of these people. I can understand that. Laying that beat down on them. Breaking someone's arm. killer. Yeah, you don't bring them in light. You don't just tell them, oh, because they're not going to surrender like that. You have to take them down fast, and you have to take them down hard. That's exactly the way it's done. That is exactly the way that it's done. Cowards, people like that, you take them down. That's it. And you bring them in. Broken arms, broken jaws, broken legs. That's police procedure. That's how they do it in the military. That's exactly how things gets done. That's exactly how business gets done in the neighborhoods. You step out of line like that, you get your leg broken. You get your hand broken. Both of them. Your knees. Or even worse. Jason understood that. And you know what? Personally, I think Bruce was ready for it. I think, and I'm going to tell you what happened and what brought Bruce back, or the trauma that set him back. I think Bruce was getting ready to take his seat at the table. I believe at this point, Bruce was getting ready to take his seat at the table. And you know what? It probably wouldn't have changed anything, because Tim ended up finding Bruce and working for him because he wanted to. I think Damien probably would have came along too, because of his relationship with Roz. And Damien was conceived around this time. You got to remember how comic books are. Time is slower in comic books. So Damien would have been conceived around this time too. So it all would have fell into place. They were tired. I think Bruce was tired. I think that's why Alfred encouraged Grayson to leave the nest. Become a diplomat. Work with Superman. I personally, I think they had a meeting. Oh, well, Master Dick's old enough. Let's send him to college. Let's send him to college. Let's give him that upper table education. That way he can help Master Bruce out, because Master Bruce isn't exactly good at being diplomatic with the superhero community. But his son, on the other hand. So send him off to college. Oh, we have a new protege. He's street. He knows his way around crime bosses. He knows the way it is. He would take a good seat at the other table. And Bruce can finally take his seat here and rule both sections of Gotham. Of course, with other people. No ruler rules alone. That's basically the way it is. You might have a king or a boss, but there's other kings and bosses and queens. Quite a few queens that sit at that table too and do business. I really believe that Bruce was hitting that point. He was hitting that point. But the problem is that Jason was impetuous. And Bruce did not ring him in like he should have. Because Bruce was struggling at that point with his morals. He was struggling with who he was and what he was about. If you think about it, if you read those comics, you get that impression. You get that impression that Bruce is tired of it. I'm tired of this painted-faced freak murdering these people over and over again. I'm tired of having to do this. I want a life. I want something for myself. Batman became more heavy-handed. He became darker. A lot of that Dark Knight stuff comes out of the 80s, the late 70s and the 80s, where he was harder on criminals. It wasn't just this Come on, old chum. We have to stop the Riddler once and for all. That's what I believe. Until the incident in Iraq. And this is my theory. The Joker knew what was happening. The Joker knew there was a threat to the game. The game was going to come to an end. And Bruce wanted to stop playing. Bruce wanted out. And the Joker couldn't have that. He didn't want his playmate to leave. He wanted the game to continue. He wanted to go on and on. So why not slip a little information in? We found your mom. Later on, find out. Wasn't it? Wasn't. You gotta read the comic. Death in the family. So, make a long story short, Jason goes over there, finds his mom. But the Joker's there waiting for him. He beats him nearly to death with a crowbar. While he's keeping Bruce busy, running in circles, looking for the Joker, looking for Jason. And in the midst of that, he beats him with a crowbar and blows him up. Blows them both up. Jason dies. Now, they bury his body. I'll get to the Red Hood thing right now. Superman shows up. Of course Clark shows up. They kind of rein in Batman because, and I think this is in the plan too. This was the contingency. And I don't think Alfred, and I'm going to say this now, didn't take any including the fact that Jason was dead. But if Bruce was going to kill someone, he's going to kill the right people. They didn't want Bruce to just start shooting random henchmen. They didn't want Bruce to lose it and just go off the hinges. They wanted him to focus on the Joker. They didn't want him to lose his son. But in a way, that's his fault. Because he should have took care of the Joker a long time ago. You think about it. Clark shows up. Clark reins him in. They go after the Joker. The Joker, oh my God. He's trying to score nukes. I mean, he is literally trying to score nukes. I think it was Iran or Iraq. Probably Iran. Yeah, it was Iran. Sorry, coffee's barely kicking in. And if there's any more reason why this clown should be on the other side, he is scoring nuclear weapons. For God's sake, nukes. This madman is scoring nuclear weapons. And I keep saying that because there's a point to this. Why in the world would they give this painted-faced twit a nuclear weapon? Why? It makes no earthly sense whatsoever that this guy is still alive and allowed to get nukes. What's he going to do? He's going to take it back to Gotham. He's going to hook it up to a bunch of Jokers he has. It's probably going to be in the Wayne building because it's always in the Wayne building or it's always somewhere else, Gotham PD or something like that. Or he's going to blow something up. He'll use part of the nuke or part of the city will go. I mean, things like that seem to happen in Gotham. And so Jason ends up losing his life because of this. Because of Bruce's stupidity. I'm going to be honest with you. Alfred wasn't really happy with him. He didn't forgive him for that one. But there was a contingency plan. The heads of the table had a contingency plan just in case Bruce flubbed it and fumbled the ball. Look. He pushed him off into a smokestack, right? Joker spent his time in a body cast. I don't know how he lived. He fell into an industrial smokestack. And then, coincidentally, it gets shut off. I know Bruce didn't shut it off. Maybe it was part of the Joker's plan. But the Joker lived. Bruce regressed. A little bit. He was still hard on criminals. He was still beating the snot out of them. And he was at that breaking point. Until the third Robin came. Tim. And Tim, I love Tim. Tim is a cop's cop. A wonderful detective, smart. His fighting skills, yeah, he's about, I'd say about third. Well, fourth in the Robins. He does know how to fight, but he's good with politics. He's good with political skills, detective skills. He's actually just as good a detective, if not better than Bruce. The quintessential cop. He'd be wonderful in Gotham PD. Like I said, this is what I'm trying to connect. All these heads, all these people at the table were planning this out. This kid was literally Bruce's neighbor. Potential. Maybe someone from the underworld pushed this kid in Bruce's direction. Jason. Just like Tim was. And then Damien came along. Now, the contingency plan was this. Roz stole Jason's body and brought him back using the Lazarus pit. And then they sent the Red Hood to do what Bruce wasn't doing. Cleaning house. And Red Hood was doing exactly what Red Hood should be doing. They were trying at this point to show Bruce, this is what happens when you screw around too much. You lost your son. Your other son doesn't want to talk to you because of your wishy-washy views. What did the Red Hood do? He came in and he got rid of some of the worst people. Watch the movie and just see it from my perspective. He got rid of some of the worst garbage people in Gotham. He set rules. You kick up to him. No doing certain things. And yes, some of these criminals did sell this or that. That's business in the underworld. But he had rules. Rules and regulations that every family has. So the Red Hood started to take over organized crime. And now, they figured if Bruce isn't going to do it, why not his son? Why not let the Red Hood do it? And let Bruce do what other men do that don't want to get their hands dirty. Take care of other situations. If there's a bank robbery, send Bruce. If there's a crime, a murder where the guy needs to be brought in, send Bruce. But if there's someone like the Joker, send the Red Hood. Send the Red Hood. Take care of the situation. Send in Damien to take care of the situation. If Bruce isn't going to do it himself, send these people to take care of certain situations. Now, the reason I think they weren't prepared for the Joker or anything like that is because they haven't taken out the Scarecrow. They haven't taken out this person. You know, I think Bane would have took his seat at the table. I think the whole situation with Bane, I think Bane would have sat at the table too. Bane saw Bruce as weak. That's basically what happened. Had Bruce wised up and decided to become who he was supposed to be, I think, personally, we would have had another ally. Bane is smart, efficient, and he does his job. Of course, in certain medias, they make him look like an idiot, but in the comic books, he's actually a pretty smart businessman. Of course, Bruce steps in, he gets into a fight with the Red Hood. And the crutch, the main part of it, the main part of it, the test. He captures the Joker, puts a gun to his head, gives Bruce a gun, and says either you're going to shoot me or I'm going to shoot him. Let me do what you won't do. If you won't kill this bloodthirsty piece of garbage, I will. I'll do it for us. What do you say? The friends, the lives that he's destroyed, the friends that he's crippled, the graveyards he's filled. This death worshiping piece of garbage. So he gave Bruce a test. Of course, Bruce finds a way around it. Bruce being Bruce, he throws that batarang. And what does the Joker do? You rootin', tootin' son of a gun. I knew you'd find a way. I knew you'd find a way. And you know, he wasn't just happy for Bruce, he was happy for himself. You found a way for us to play. You found a way for us to continue our wonderful game. Our wonderful game of causing chaos in the streets of Gotham. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. I knew it. I knew that you would help me. While everyone else is probably going like this. Oh, God, no. I mean, you could just see people in the boardroom just like this. Bruce. Just let the kid shoot him. I mean, or do it yourself. But no, he gets into a fight with the Red Hood, he beats him up. And what happens? Eventually, the Red Hood does what the Red Hood does. Yeah, except they switched him to like rubber bullets. Sometimes the Red Hood uses guns, and certain people disappear. And Bruce kind of ignores it. But the problem is that he doesn't let the Red Hood take out the people who need to be taken out. There's these areas where this stuff goes on, and it seems like Bruce allows it. And nobody at the table wants that to happen. Nobody at the table wants these people around anymore. It's getting to that point. There's also a new Batman now. So I think, and I hope, and I pray, Bruce takes his seat at the table. I have a feeling that he's already sitting there now. All he needs to do is start giving the order. Start cleaning the house. And making Gotham Gotham. Gotham for the people, not for the nutcases that run around. The boy grows up, as the Red Hood has. That's what I'm saying. That's why I've been talking about the past, letting you know who Bruce is and who Bruce could be. Bruce, better than Thomas Wayne. Older, more sophisticated. Not just better Batman, but better than Thomas Wayne. Better than Flashpoint Batman. And look at the proteges that he has take over when he doesn't want to do it anymore. When he doesn't have to do it anymore. The true guardians of Gotham. So Bruce, past, present. And this is Zafa Slater, aka El Chingon. People in Gotham know who I am. The comic outlaw. Just think about what I said. Gotham. The Gotham. And as always, catch you on the flip side.